Good afternoon. It has been a day. It's been one of those days. I went to Sweet Bloom Coffee Roasters up in Westminster, I think. Anyway, haven't been here in a while. Great coffee shop, amazing pastries and baked goods. There's a bakery right next door, like packed at 9 a.m. And I I was about to say, I think I'm done, which is false, but I don't know where to take this. I worked all morning, and then I was like walking, literally this morning, walking to the coffee shop. I was like, I have to get this deployed. I need to finish this. And so I I started some feature, and I was like 75% of the way through, and it was like too complicated, and it wasn't working on the first try, and there was just like too much code to look through and to understand. And I was like, screw it, just scrap it. Like I can't be dealing with this right now. I need to be focusing on what is most important, which is finishing this and deploying it. And then I deployed it, and then I and when I say it, deployed user accounts and Stripe integration, and everything just kind of like stopped working. I was like, what? Wait, but it works on my MacBook. Like, what is going on? So anyway, figured out I had to update my Nginx configuration, and that partially fixed it. And then I ran into something else that was not working, and I was like, what is going on? And at this point, it was like 11:15, 11:30, and I was just frantically trying to debug, because like I don't have a lot of people using it, but it's nerve-wracking to have a public server. There's an expectation there, and when you break things, I get nervous that someone is like about to log in, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work, and then they get mad at me, or whatever. And so I want to minimize that. But anyway, it got to be like 12:30, 12:40. Like I'm an hour deep. My brain is fried. Like I don't know what the heck is going on. I was like, screw this. I'm just gonna leave it like this. Take a break, eat lunch, and then come back fresh, and hope that you know I'll figure it out. And so that's what I did. I left the coffee shop, went to my van, which was parked in the parking lot, and decided to not drive anywhere. Because I was like, well, I'm in this big parking lot, so I'll just chill here. Why not? And that's what I did. Ate some lunch, watched some YouTube, literally forgot what the error was that I was running into. And so by like 1:45, 2 o'clock or so, I opened my laptop back up, and I was like, all right, what the heck is going wrong again? And within like 5 minutes, I had it fixed. I was like, oh, so I forgot to delete these files here, and so I was trying to, whatever. So that was one learning lesson. Was there's like I don't know. There's a point at which you just have to stop. Like, I think I've talked about this before. Like, the skill of learning when to detach from the moment and be like, okay, I'm going to come back for this later, or I'm working on something that I shouldn't be doing. I can't tell you and this kind of segues into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which was, I can't tell you how many times, well, it has been a growing number recently, but the number of thoughts that I've had where it's like, I'm working on something, and then, trying to fix a button, or I don't know, something like stupid and small or whatever, and then all of a sudden you end up in this like rabbit hole of, you've been working on this thing for the last hour, and it's like this super niche edge case whatever, and it's like, is this really what I should be doing right now, you know? And the the what's the right word, motivation, the push, the there's some other word I'm looking for, the motivation to get this back in the hands of users has been growing exponentially for me lately. I've started to have the thoughts of like, I've been developing and just building this with no user feedback. And one of the biggest lessons or failures of entrepreneurs that I've heard of is building something that nobody wants, and building something and then trying to find, like, there's a couple things. One of them is like building a solution and then trying to find the problem. I don't think that's exactly what I'm doing here, because I know what the problem is. I just don't, and I know the problem exists. It's just a matter of finding the people who have that problem and would want to pay for it. So there's still some validation there. And I've brought that up before, but those thoughts of like, are you just going to end up like one of those another failed entrepreneurs who built something that nobody wants? Like, this needs to be back in the hands of users as soon as possible. And fortunately, that has kind of coincided exactly with finishing and being ready for users. I've spent the last, I don't know, month scaling this and optimizing it and getting user accounts, and now it's ready for users. I mean, it was ready before this, but it's even more ready. And so just the fear is, if you scroll back to Asheville, which actually this is the first time I thought about it. I have literally videos in Asheville from when I was there. Anyway, just thinking about how the fact that, I don't know what the state of Asheville is now, but it looked like it was mostly underwater, which is very sad. But anyway, my point being, if you scroll back to, there's a video in Asheville where June, something like that. I think it was July. I don't remember the title of it, but it was the it was the day after, or the day I read the YouTube API terms of service. And that morning, I had spent like 3 hours tweaking these weights for my composite relevance scoring algorithm for finding similar channels. And it was like, I no longer have that function. It's gone. Like, I deleted that code. And so the worry is that, but at a more macro scale of, I just spent 3 hours working on this thing that is literally no longer relevant. It's just gone. And I don't want that to be the case at a macro scale. And so I feel like all of this is just this balancing act of perfectionism with facing uncertainty and fears and discomfort. Because there are endless things. And this is back to the whole like rabbit hole thing of I feel as though I can sometimes get into these little tangents or whatever trying to fix and tweak something so that it is perfect or it's it's what it should be or whatever, when it's like, what if all of that just doesn't even matter? What if a user comes in and users use it and they're like, oh, I didn't even know that existed, and like I never used that, and it's like, well, I just spent half a day on it, whatever. And so the question is, what is the most important, most valuable thing that I should be doing? And I think it's time to get back to user feedback. And I am confident that this time I will be able to figure out how to actually onboard and handle users without running into quota issues. So screw that application. I don't even need it. I don't even need it. No, I do need it. um, so I closed door number 3. What were the other two? It was reach outs, lead generation, and retention, improving the relevance of the results. I think it's time to go to door number 1. I just don't, the argument of continuing to optimize, or retention has the biggest argument right now, or has the strongest argument. But I don't see the argument in tweaking and optimizing and changing little things and fixing little bugs and whatever, when there's a stronger argument to getting more user feedback. And I wouldn't say I'm with the number of times that I've had just downtime and broken my production software and had bugs and things and stuff not working. I don't think it's, and I don't think this is my perfectionism or whatever insecure. I don't think it's ready for like prime time, worthy of fully scaled, value and whatever the word I'm looking for. Like, I don't think it's worth the price that the competitors are offering. But that said, I don't think it's also worth 0. And non-monetarily, I don't think it's also worth just being for me. Like, there are people with the same problem that I have, and that other users who've already used it have identified. And so it's just a matter of finding them. And again, back to this, like, what's the most important thing? I don't think there's an argument to tweaking and whatever. I would rather take actual user feedback and build, like, what if I scrap a whole page or change up a whole job or algorithm or whatever because of user feedback? Then it's right now not worth doing that work until I get that user feedback. And so I think I've developed as much from the first round of user feedback. I mean, obviously there's more. There's infinite things to do. But again, back to this, like, it's a balancing act. I don't want to get caught into this, paint myself into the corner, insert analogy here, metaphor, whatever, where, oh, well, one person said this, and so I built this whole, page and job and whatever for that. But I just got lucky, and it's actually 1% of all of the users who have that problem. And so, anyway, you probably get my point. My brain is destroyed right now. But yeah, I think the focus is now going to be back to user reach outs, which I don't want to do. That and fixing all of the bugs that come up, because there will be a lot. I'm just going to be honest with you. So I need to like go for a walk or something. I've been sitting all day. Oh man. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.